Another minute or so, we're going to get started here. Awesome, relaxed class for the week. We've been working ourselves to the bone. Everyone's been working hard, keeping their fitness up. We're going to take some time to relax and stretch some stuff out today. All right, looks like we're live. Looks like we're ready to go. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Nice little stretch class today. We're going to flow through some flexibility, a little bit of mobility as well. So there's going to be some stuff that you've done, maybe as something as part of your routine now. Maybe it's something that you know you should be doing, but you don't normally do. So here's your chance. We're probably going to hit a couple things that you maybe haven't done before either. So some new things to now add to your toolkit of your stretches and stuff post-workout. My name's Scott Paradis. I'm coming in from 3CDSB Edmonton. I'm an FSI there. We're going to do a couple house cleaning things first. So first things first, we're going to shoot through our disclaimer really quick, and then we're going to talk about the rest. So in response to COVID-19, PSP is offering virtual fitness to the Canadian Armed Forces members. By using social media platforms, the virtual fitness classes tailored to the Canadian Armed Forces personnel become accessible to all. Participants who are not Canadian Armed Forces members recognize and acknowledge that their age, health status, and physical fitness level are unknown, and it is entirely up to each individual to assess their ability to participate in this class. Since it is preferable to contact a physician before beginning any exercise program, we invite all participants who are not Canadian Armed Forces members to consult the Get Active questionnaire of the Canadian Society for Exercise Physiology, where if you need to find that, it's going to be down in the link below. If you experience any pain or difficulty during the exercises presented in this video, it is recommended that you stop and consult a healthcare provider. For CAF members, if you sustain an injury during this video, you're going to fill out that CF98. All right, disclaimers out of the way. Make sure you got your water. We always want to hydrate up. We're not going to sweat a ton today, but we still want to make sure that the body's hydrated. That way it's going to be more flexible. It's going to be more mobile because we're providing some fluid to the joints, all that kind of fun stuff. A couple other things you're going to need, whether it's a dowel, a rod. I stole my broomstick. You can use a band if you prefer. You can grab a belt. Whatever you need, run off and grab that now. As well, before you head out, grab something else. I'm using just a roll of tape. You can use a plate. You can use something like that. Just make sure, A, if you're using something that's breakable, do not drop it during this drill when we get to it. Number two, make sure that it's wide enough that it's not so easy to grip in your palm. This one's not the best idea, but your goal is to keep that palm flat. So if you have something that's ever so slightly bigger than your hand, that's perfect. Okay? Go ahead and run and grab those now. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Beautiful. If you're just tuning in, again, my name's Scott Paradis. I'm coming in from 3CDSB Edmonton. You're going to need a couple things. You're going to need a dowel. You're going to need some kind of either band or a dowel or a belt or something like that, as well as something that's going to fit into your palm, ideally slightly something bigger than your palm, just slightly. That would be perfect. And again, some kind of hydration. Maybe you're rocking the coffee this morning still. I've already had my 6 cups and I'm flipping over to water. All right. Beautiful. Everyone's back? Love it. I'm going to do a lot from where I am. If you prefer to stand, stand. If you prefer to sit, sit. Doesn't matter at this point, okay? There's not going to be a ton in the way of warm-up. We're going to dive straight into some of the movements, okay? I've got a whole schwack of stuff we're going to go through. As just that little idea, it's a list that looks like this. It's massive. We're going through like 25 different moves. We're going to spend lots of time. If we get through it all, great. If we don't, that's totally fine as well. But we wanted to have a lot of content. We want to hit that total body. We've been starting to seize up now that we've been sitting. This is like end of week 5, I think. Maybe even week 6. I'm completely lost at this point, as sure as many of you are. We're sitting more. Maybe we're at the computer more being working at home. So at least when we're at work, so for PSP, we're very on the floor, we're very moving. Yes, there's a lot of behind the scenes administration, but now we're doing even more of that. What's gonna happen with that? We start to seize up. We start to get stiff. We start to get tight. We get aches and pains, and we don't know why. Or we don't realize that something so minuscule as sitting can increase that tightness, that pain, that discomfort, right? Most people, couch is comfy. but the low back doesn't like a couch. It likes something more rigid. It likes something that keeps it stable, okay? So 2 things. Keep going with all the other programs throughout the week. Get that core strong, keep that body nice and fit, as well as don't skip any of the flexibility days. Be able to still hit those, the flexibilities, the mobilities. The one last week that Kristen has done with everyone was fantastic. That neural flossing is amazing for the body. I'm going to go through something a little bit more traditional. My background's a little bit more in mobility, so we're definitely going to hit a couple different moves around that. Everyone's back, everyone's ready to go. We're going to stand up, do a quick assessment first. As we go through this, I want you to look, feel inside, okay? We're going to do these movements, and I want you to not regress, but I want you to assess, how does it feel? Does it feel good to move that way? Has it increased anything? Has it maybe decreased something? Okay? So throughout, you're going to do a quick assessment of yourself throughout. And I'm going to get a couple movements. We're going to stop, reassess as we go. All right, here we go. Standing up. First things first, I want you to take 10 seconds, just kind of move, bend, creak, crack, get any of that out. See what feels tight, see what feels gross, see what doesn't feel the way it should be or what your norm is. All right, go ahead and do that now. So whatever you need, a bend, a twist, a rotation, a bend backwards is always a great test as well. If you're getting pain somewhere where you normally shouldn't, if you're finding that that's, I can't do the exercise type pain, get into that position, get that checked out. Number 2, if it's just like, ooh, that's kind of tight, that's okay, we're gonna work on that, okay? Everyone's got that? Great. Take that mental picture of how it feels. Mentally, how do you feel right now? How does the body feel? Step 2, feet together, knees together. I want you to squat as deep as you can. So all the way down, as deep as you can. Hold for a second, come back up. I want you to do it 3 times. Come on down, hold for a second, come back up. With each one, assess, how's it feeling? Do you feel the back pain? Maybe your knees are bugging you, maybe ankles are weird, maybe you just fall over, you can't actually keep yourself up, right? There's a bunch of different things that can happen. I want you to do that those 3 times, take a feel for it. Once you have those 3, move around again, do your quick bends, see if that already started to loosen something up. If it did, bonus. If it hasn't, don't worry about it. Just take that mental picture, have that inside feeling of what that just felt like. We're gonna come back to this one a couple times, and we're going to look and see if anything that we've done has improved it. Maybe it stayed the same. Not necessarily that that's a bad thing, but ideally we always like that instant gratification of something changing, okay? So if it doesn't, don't beat yourself up over it. Can be something as simple as water. So make sure you got that water with you. Hydrate up and hydrate up throughout the day, right? Every day, all day, every day. I'll do a little spiel on water down at the end, give you some recommendations around how much guidelines are showing us that we should have, and see where you fit that into your day if you're hitting those quotas or not. All right, feels good. Stand, sit, your choice. I'm gonna sit so I can stay nice and close. We're ready to roll, we feel good. We've made that assessment, right? Whatever feels comfortable. We're gonna start from the head, we're gonna work our way down, okay? We're gonna hit everything. If you're finding something crazy tight, spend more time on it, all right? Most of these, when I first start out, are gonna be mobility drills. We're gonna do those for, you can do them for reps, you can do them for time, okay? I'm just gonna go with the flow. We're gonna see what feels great throughout class today. When you get into any static flexibility, so static stretching specific, 30 seconds and 2 sets is key, okay? In classes, sometimes we teach, we're short on time, it's 10, 15-second holds. It does a slight change, but for the biggest bang for your buck, you want to be able to hit that 30-second mark, and you want to do that muscle group 2 times. So if you're doing a hamstring stretch, a calf stretch, do one side, flip over, do the other side, but then return back to that first side and do that side again, as well as that second side. All right, so make sure you're hitting the muscle groups twice. We're going to go through them all twice today. Hopefully we can get through the list. That would be great. If we don't, again, no worries. It means there's more content coming. First one, starting off with the head nod. So yes and no. We're probably finding that this guy's tight. Maybe we're starting to feel that kink in the neck. Maybe we're starting to feel a shoulder ride up. We're starting to feel that tightness in that upper back, that neck region. because we're now hunched over our phones more, we're on the couch more, so we're getting this kind of posture more, right? We can't hide from that. We know it is. If you're saying, no, that's not me, yeah, I don't know about that, you might be lying. All right, we all tend to get into that, especially when we're in front of a computer. We start to hunch over, we start to get close. That's going to be a big focus of today's class as well, is keeping things mobile and moving based on the muscle groups that are going to tighten up and the problems we might feel while sitting in front of a computer for too long. Okay, starting with that yes and no. I want you to go chin to chest and then head all the way back. Now, most people just went, oh, Scott, what are you doing? You're not supposed to go into extension. True, you should not go into extension with any kind of force. But if the body can move in that range of motion, why are we restricting it from going into that range of motion? Think about that. So again, chin to chest, all the way up. So just a slow yes motion. Yes, everyone's loving these PSP videos. You're all agreeing with me right now. I can see it as you are nodding yes. I gotcha. Into a no fashion. So turning the head to one side, coming across to the other side. Now, as you do this, I want you to feel, can you turn more one way? Can you look over one shoulder more than the other? Does one side feel tighter than the other? Make those mental notes. Even if you wanted to jot them down on a piece of paper, maybe your phone's beside you, you wanted to make a note, go ahead and do that. Because then you know what to work on later. Back to your yes. Chin to chest, all the way up. Any cracking, creaking, got a little bit of free chiropractic there. As long as it's not causing pain. If it's pain and discomfort, again, get that checked. Back to your no. So again, over to one side. Maybe this second set is now a little bit easier feeling. Things are moving a little bit already. Maybe a little bit less tightness. Maybe you can look over your shoulders some more. All that good stuff. Beautiful. Now, the fun guy. Tilting ear to shoulder. I said ear to shoulder, not this. Ear to shoulder. Come back up, ear to shoulder. Come back up. See which side stretches more. Which side can you feel yourself tilt more to? For me, I can definitely go this way more than this way. More often than not, you can feel it. If you're really not sure, after class, go stand in front of a mirror. Give a little tilt. Then you'll be able to see yourself, and you can see which way am I going more. Beautiful. Now, where you don't really take into that extension of the spine, of the neck, sorry, in any kind of rotation. So I don't want to roll my head all the way around. That's not the best thing to be doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep that extension out of it. We're going to tilt our ear to our shoulder, roll down chin to chest, only to the other side, and then stop. Then come back all the way across, roll chin to chest, and across. 3 more, nice and slow. You take your time. If I'm going too quick, take more time. Beautiful. Now that other direction. Remember, no extension. Just to the opposite side, and then come over. All right. So now maybe that neck starts to feel a little bit tired. It's fatigued. Because maybe we haven't moved it in that way in a long time. Maybe it's something that you don't fit in as a regular practice. So if it feels tired, that's not a bad thing. It's just the muscles trying to work and pull it around at the same time, right? Of course, with any kind of flexibilities, mobilities, you want to try and stay as relaxed as you can. Try and stay as chill, as calm as you can. Try not to create tension within that body. Some of these movements, it's going to take 1 or 2 reps to be able to figure out. So you're going to be stiff and tense trying to do it. And then from there, it's going to start to loosen up. All right. Next guy. Again, you can do it seated. I like to do this one kneeling. Some people love to do it standing in preference. Okay. We're going to roll into that shoulder joint next. So make sure that if you're seated, if you're not on something higher where you can get your arm behind you, come into a kneel or a stand. Again, I'm just going to do into a high kneel here. Okay. I can still get my arms straight. What I want you to do is a typical arm circle. Now, when we do an arm circle, this tends to happen, right? We're here. But notice that my arm only comes to here as I go around, right? So maybe someone who does a lot of weights, chest is tight, so all those big lifters out there, this might only be your range of motion. But if that's not you, when I do a press, my hand comes up here. So why am I only changing my range of motion to react here, where I want it to actually stretch and move and mobile here, okay? The other piece that we tend to forget about are those little rotator cuff muscles. So those ones that hold that shoulder into place, that stabilize that shoulder joint. What we're going to do is we're going to create a rotation in the arm, which is then going to create a rotation into the shoulder. That's where we're going to get that rotator cuff going, okay? So going up and back, we're going to go palm up the whole time. What I mean by that is my palm is still up. My palm comes up to the top as high as you can, ideally bicep to ear, not ear to bicep. So if you're out here and that's as far as you can go, that's okay. You're going to find that you get stuck. You're then going to turn your palm around so that when you come back around, the palm is still up again, right? Rotate and around. Again, the first feet, you're going to stay really tight trying to do this. When I get here, you just let it fall. All right? Notice the difference. You just kind of feel gravity go with you. If you find you're hitting the ground, you're now going to start to come up into a kneel. Or if you prefer to stand, go for it. Maybe you've been sitting all morning. It just deserves a stand. Go for it. That's totally cool. A couple more. Again, staying relaxed. Trying to get that range of motion as far up as you can. All right? Now where we start to mess with the brain and we get that brain to body connection is I want you to reverse the direction, but still palm up. So notice the palm is still up. You get stuck. We rotate and roll the hand so it still comes back palm up. Okay? So every time your palm should be pointing to the sky when it's in front of you. Same thing. Once you're there, you can just start to relax into it. And everyone's going, oh my God, my shoulder's tired already. Yep. You probably haven't moved it in that range of motion, either A, in a long time, B, you haven't really just done mobility in a long time in that direction or in that range of motion, or we're just deconditioned to it right now, right? Beautiful. Other side, same thing. Backwards first. You can notice as watching me, this side's tighter. This gap right here is a whole lot wider than what it was on the opposite side. This is my bad shoulder. You can see it. But I've made that mental note of it. So I work on it. All right, other direction. Still palm up. Here's that trick. Maybe you're starting to get some crunching, some creaking right now. Got to work on it. We should be nice, quiet joints. So you can really see the difference in myself from right to left. Again, staying relaxed, staying calm with it. Maybe this side feels more worse, like more tired. You're just like, wow, never realized. Something to really work on, right? All right, those are feeling good, those are feeling tired, perfect. All right, next guy. You can do it kneeling. I prefer to do it standing because you really need to be able to torque and move your body around. This is where I talked about that plate. Again, I'm using the tape roll, something that fits just slightly bigger than your palm. If you have something that is smaller than your palm, don't grab it. Keep your palm open. Or even better, try and actually pull your fingers down so you don't grab it. Okay, I don't want this. Because as it tips, I want it to fall out of your hands so that you're aware that the palm isn't staying up. Reason it's called teacups. This was initially taught, and when it was created, you actually did it with a tea saucer and a hot cup of tea. Hot tea included. So that if you spilt it on you, it burnt, it hurt, you learned. You didn't actually tip it the second time. Okay? So there's the trick. Don't go do that. We are not promoting that whatsoever. That's just kind of how it came about. So I'm going to do it kneeling first to see A, if I can do it, and B, I'm just in a better screenshot for you. So from here, we're going to rotate around. So now it's almost like you're carrying a tray. We're going to keep rotating around, and then the hand comes out straight. Notice palm's still up. I'm not tipping or it's going to fall, right? Once you're in that position, we then come back underneath and back to the start. So again, up and around, keep rotating, under, back through. You'll notice that I gotta bend, I gotta move. That's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. And then as you have it, you just start to flow through. Now, if it starts to slide, don't grab it. Let it fall. Let your body learn. Nice big wide open palm. Now I've got shoulder going. I got elbow going. I got wrist going. I've even got some flexion going. So I've got a lot of mobility happening right now. Last one. And then under. All right, now the fun part. Ready? Reverse your direction. So under first, and then over top. Palm open. We lose it right here. Right in that spot is where it goes. So, under. Over. And back. Just because we went one way and it felt smooth doesn't necessarily mean the other way is going to feel the same, right? Again, under and around. So you picture this with that hot cup of tea. You really focus on your movement. It's called mindful practice. So you're physically thinking about what you're doing. You're not just mindlessly doing it. You're not just flying through a shoulder press. You're not just flying through a bench press, right? This is making you think. We're connecting brain to body, okay? So under and around. All right, other side. I'll let you choose which way you want to go. You're going to do 6 one way, 6 the other way. Nice and slow. I'm going this way first. Again, being my bad shoulder, I find this side more challenging. If you prefer to stand, you can definitely stand because you can really get a lean into it. And you can swing around with it, right? Good. And then your other direction. No cheating, don't grab it. If it falls, it falls. Laugh at it, keep going. If you find for some reason this is not working out, your brain just doesn't get it, it's just like, you know what, Scott, you're ridiculous, this is making no sense, just work on a motion to here and back down. A motion to here and back down, same thing, just a motion to here and back down. Okay, you're still getting good rotation and everything. We're flying through it all. Seen that one before? Maybe? Maybe not. Great one to add in. Really good for the shoulders. I bet you even a few of you had that tongue hanging out. So we really had everything working. All right. The next guy. Standing up. Grab your towel. Grab your dowel. Grab your belt. Grab your band. Whatever you're using. Skipping rope. Something like that. You just need something. It's a little bit tough to do with nothing in your hands. Everyone's got it? Great. Keeping your arms as straight as possible. From here, nice wide grip. Try and go all the way around the body without bending the arms. All the way to your butt. Good. All the way back around. and back again. Nice and slow. Notice that I'm hanging on the whole time. I'm not only just holding with a half a finger. I don't have my full hand on just because the dowel's not long enough for me. This broomstick isn't long enough. But ideally, you don't want your fingers kind of just holding on with just 2 index fingers. That's too easy. You want the full palm on there if possible. It's going to then make the shoulders have to work a little bit more. All right? So just flossing back and through. If it's feeling not too bad, you can try and narrow in half an inch, maybe an inch. If you go too narrow, you'll get to a point where you just can't go any further. So you have to be wide enough, but you can challenge it slightly by coming in. So I'll put both palms onto it here. Let's give this a try, no guarantees. So you can find that it's a whole lot tighter. So it's going to depend on your range of motion, your flexibility, and everything in those shoulders, right? Beautiful. Now, let's really work those forearms. Forearms were stuck on a mouse for a lot of the day. We're going to hit a little bit of forearm now. We're going to come later on with forearm after these. So, sitting behind you, palms are going to face forward. From here, same thing. You're going to try and come around with as straight an arm as you can. Make sure you don't hit yourself in the back of the head. And you're going to notice that this kind of flips your hands sideways or upside down, right? They call it an eagle grip. So from here, some people are like way up here. They feel tightness in their shoulders. Maybe their forearms are bent. We should be able to get to this position. Whether you can or not doesn't matter. Just make that mental assessment that that's a tight spot. I need to work on it, right? So same thing from here. Whoop. A few times. Kind of floss through. Again, crunching, creaking, that's totally okay. Again, this dowel is not quite long enough, so you'll see some people as they go, they get a little bit of a bend in the elbow to come up and around. Totally cool as well. Maybe there's just a little bit of a tightness or a restriction, and that's all that your body's letting you do, right? So if this is what it takes, that's totally okay. If you can't get there, don't go there, right? Again, you can come just from here to here. So to start that position, you would grab on, we would grab on, and then we would just come to the top and back down. All right? Beautiful. All right, back to your start. Both hands straight up overhead. We're going to do kind of like a four corner bend. So feet shoulder width apart or slightly wider if you prefer. There's going to be a complete side bend, a complete forward fold, an opposite side, and then back up to the top. So what it looks like before I explain. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? 2 things here. Number 1, don't hit anything above you. All right? Got to make sure. Number 2, lateral flexion is straight up lateral flexion. There's no rotation in it. There's nothing. It's just a complete side bend. So together to one side, you're going to feel the stretch down that whole opposite side. From here, keep your one hand, your bottom hand right where it is, and roll that top hand down so you can get to a forward fold. Keep your opposite hand where it is and rotate to the side, and then come all the way up. So notice straight arms and very specific side flex, front, side, and up. There's no kind of hybrid in between. Okay, so again, one side, hold for a second, roll down, other side, roll up, good, and up to the top. Good, 2 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. 1 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Good. Felt okay? Beautiful. Let's hope it feels just the same going the other direction. So, opposite way first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. 2 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Get rid of this guy, grab some water. Maybe it's still coffee. I'm okay with that as well. So, we're feeling warm, yes? Might even be sweating a little bit. Who said you can't sweat while doing flexibility, right? All right. Forearms. Massive for forearms. Get yourself down on your knees. These ones are going to feel super tight for the majority of people. Not only because the main focus was because we're using a mouse, a keyboard a lot more, maybe we're gaming a whole lot more, things like that. Just in general, we don't normally warm up a wrist very well. You'll see a wrist warm up come into play with a lot of yoga. You'll find it in a lot of handstand work or headstand work, things like that, gymnastics, aerialistic stuff. That's where they kind of tie it in. So Cirque du Soleil is a big one. Those types of things is where you're going to see it more. We tend to forget about it because even in shoulder press, we still have to brace with our wrists and things like that. Weight is pushing through that wrist, but we don't tend to usually warm it up. Okay, so let's get into some of those. Hopefully these will be something that you can carry over to day. Even you can use them every hour. If you can get that 5 minutes away from your desk every hour, then that way you can still get a little bit of a stretch. You get a little bit of a water break, a second away from your computer. Super good for the mind as well. So first guy, clasp the hands together. And all you're going to do is roll your wrists. Now, you're going, wow, didn't realize they crunch, they creak, they crack that much. There's a whole lot of wrist bone action going on in there, right? With our 8 carpal bones that we got going on in there, they're really creaking around. Ideally, we want it to start to quiet down, which I can, for myself, hear it start to get a little bit less crunchy and cracky. Other direction. Maybe you've noticed in a lot of what we've done so far, one side felt okay, so the body automatically thinks that the other side should be the same because it's just reversing the direction, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. Something might not glide the same way one direction that it does the other one. Maybe there's a restriction on muscles of the opposite side of the body, or the antagonist muscle that's the opposite way, right? Beautiful. Now, we're going to go into what they call a tabletop, so hands and knees. I want you to flip your hands so that your fingers point towards your knees. That might be a stretch already. So someone who does a lot of weightlifting, so biceps could be tight, shoulders could be tight, forearms instantly feel tight, right? From here, all I want you to do is just start to sit back on your knees until the palm just starts to come off the ground. So just the bottom of that palm starts to lift. You're going to feel that stretch right across this guy here. All right. How intense you want it to be, that's up to you. What you're looking for, though, is a slight discomfort, but no pain. If it's painful, back up. But we should feel that bit of a stretch. This one's great. These are good for carpal tunnel. So if you've ever had that, thought of that wrist achiness while you're sitting at a computer, things like that, we can stave some of that off by a routine stretch, mobility, and strengthening of those wrists, all right? So we're hanging out here. Again, what was the rule at the start? 30 seconds and 2 sets. You got it. As you start to sink into it and it feels a little bit less intense, you can always back yourself up a little bit more and start to feel a little bit more of a stretch and start to deepen into it. If you wanted to fit breathing into this, which then does help further relax for some people, take that very yoga-esque kind of style. So it's that nice slow inhale through the nose, pause your breath up at the top, and then the slow exhale through the mouth. Beautiful. Shake that out. Palms either together. I like to go actually shoulder width. Fingers pointing to the sides. And now we're going to rock. We're gonna do it for 10. Again, nice and slow. We're not trying to force anything. We're not trying to be rigid or tight. We want to be relaxed and make it flow. Good. Now, we're starting to feel tight maybe on the tops of the wrists. Again, this is a spot where we kind of feel it when we do a push-up, for instance. We always find that a lot of people complain about wrist tightness, sometimes wrist pain. This is going to help alleviate some of that as well. So you're now going to rotate. So we're going to put top of the palm, so it's palm up, back of the hands on the ground, but your fingers facing your knees. You're then going to place your other hand just on top, just to hold it. It's not to actually put any crazy pressure on it. It's just to hold it from rotating. All right? So from here, I'm going to hold my palm down. I've only got really my thumb on it is all I need. From here, you're going to notice that you can still move your elbow around. Okay? I want you to try and point your elbow towards the screen. So I want you to rotate that elbow and extend. So from the side, same thing. Rotate that elbow. Should feel it right across the front. All you're just going to hang out there. Give it 3, 4, 5 seconds. Then I want you to relax. And I want you to rotate again. As you start to feel things loosen up, you then start to turn the palm so it's almost like it's pointed at an angle so that when you rotate, you can rotate further. Okay? Some people prefer just put their knee down because then they have this other hand for balance or whatnot. That's up to you. But most people feel it right across this guy here, or brachioradialis. So right across that main forearm muscle is a big spot of what we feel. Some will feel it maybe even into the elbow because that muscle does kind of come across. Good. Other side. Palm up. I find this side way tighter. I even have to almost lean forward to start just because the wrist is tight. And then same thing, that rotation. That relax, re-rotate. It's feeling better, so now I can start to rotate that palm. Good. Palms down. Lean back. Set 2 of this guy. Next big guy we're going to get into is hips. Everyone's favorite. They're always tight. They're always sore. They always ache. These are a huge problem because we sit way too much in a lot of places that we don't think of, right? We always think at work and at home. But you sit at the kitchen table, you sit in your car, you sit on the bench, you sit on the steps outside while you're resting, you go for a walk, you sit on a park bench. There's a lot of sitting, there's a lot of bending. Every single step uses your hips, right? Beautiful. Shake them out. You can come to this one again if you want, just to move things around just a little bit. Grab your water, grab a quick sip. We're going to move to the next section. All right, feeling good? Let's do that quick reassess before we get into the hips. The hips we're going to feel more when we actually do the squat portion, okay? But when we do the squat, we also have to remember that because the muscles do cross over that back, so glutes come across the back, the lats are coming down into that section. If the upper body loosens up, then usually our squat can also improve. So, back it become. Yes, we've done nothing when it comes to hips, knees, ankles yet. Feet together, knees together, do a check. I just find that I can get my shoulders out better, things feel better, right? Come on up, one more time. Knees together, feet together. Good. Take a second, move around, see how the upper body feels more than the lower. Don't worry about the lower yet, we haven't gotten there. But move that upper body again, see how it feels. I'm feeling great right now. Something I don't incorporate in this week a whole lot. Unfortunately, I do need to fit that in more. But I'm not scared to admit that either. I can be, hey, this is a weakness of mine. We're going to work on it. I've been really sitting down and trying to focus on a good plan for everyone today to really hit everything and really focus on getting things moving because we've been stuck inside for so long. All right? All right, when you're ready, coming down to the ground, we're going to start what we call a shin box. So, one foot in front, right? Normally we would sit like this. I want the other foot behind. So it's inside of the foot to the ankle. And take a note, take a feel. Does this feel good? Do you feel like you have to like lean and then you're kind of curved up to get into that position because this hip won't drop down? Take those mental notes, right? Make a note in your phone, make a note on a piece of paper, a notepad, something like that. Something that you know that you can work on. When we get to the other side, you'll see what it looks like to have a bit of that lean because I do have a bit of that lean. So it can show the compensation for you. So from here, without using your arms, no momentum, don't swing, use your glutes and roll yourself up. So for most, you're going to feel an instant stretch here. Some people get it into the adductors as well. Okay. Now we're into kind of a pop-up of a shin box. Slowly back down. Bring everything back up. I want you to do 5. Hold for 2 to 3 seconds up top. But notice that I'm not kind of swinging my arms to get myself up there. I'm taking control of the body. Things are moving through my hips. I'm contracting my glutes. I'm getting that engagement going. One more. Good. Flip over. However you want to get there, doesn't matter. One leg in, one leg behind. Can you see that curve? You can kind of see the curve right here. I have a hard time getting this hip down. So now you can start to see that compensation, right? I know I need to work on getting this hip down to the ground, but it's crazy tight. You'll notice that this doesn't come as close to this knee. Something that you can kind of look at for compensation patterns. Symmetry is good. Some people say, well, both sides suck. That's okay. I'd rather have both sides suck than one side be good, one side be bad. Asymmetry is like that, so one side being stronger than the other leads to dysfunction, okay? So at least if we can be crappy on both sides, that's great. If we can be fantastic on both sides, even better, okay? From here, when you're ready, go for it. Come on up. Maybe you're getting some hip popping, some hip creaking. Again, that's okay as long as it's not causing pain. If it's causing pain, get that looked at. Last 2. All right. Back to your first side. We're going to do 6 in total. 3 on each side. How it's going to work, your feet do not move. Your feet stay where they are. So you're going to actually turn away from your device when you get to the other side. So we're going to come up, back down, keep your feet where they are, bring yourself up, roll to the other side. Come up, back down, roll yourself back to the start. Come up, back down. Now, if you get stuck right here and you can't go around, move your feet if you need to, but ideally you keep your feet where they are and we just roll. So amazing hip mobility. You'll see a lot of this drill come up in like jiu-jitsus and a lot of MMA kind of stuff because it's a lot of flow, it's a lot of roll. That's where a lot of this kind of comes from. And it feels better than the boring just static stretching, right? Beautiful. Now, stand up. I'm going to really mess with your mind, as you all know I'm good for, right? I'm going to show it first, then we're going to get into the explanation of it. Basically, you're coming from a stand to kind of a half shin box, all right? So it's kind of a flow type movement. This trains us as kids, as adults. It's kind of almost like a fall prevention kind of technique. I won't get super in depth for it, although if you want, reach out to me and I can explain it a little bit more. This is trying to flow through a range of motion without using hands. So when we fall, we tend to want to put our wrists out. This is going to try and take that away, but it does take time to plan that out. So, no further ado, we drop one knee and we sit. So I'm kind of in a half shin box. I'm going to turn so that when you see it from the front, I'm kind of in a half shin box, right? If I just brought this knee around, I'm in my shin box, okay? Then from here, I can stand back up. So what you're going to do, facing, drop the knee to the floor. So I'm pivoting to the side. So I'm pivot. And as I'm pivoting, I'm then going to roll myself onto my butt. If you want to put a hand down to help, okay, you can. So again, stand. We'll walk through slow. Underneath, roll, 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 and then unwind yourself. So you'll almost feel like you're doing a 180-degree turn, because most people will get stuck here and then they'll just kind of fall to the side. Keep rotating. That's what's going to get you to sit onto your butt. So if I pause here, I'm stuck, but if I just keep turning, I'll sit down. Does that make sense? If you don't get it, don't worry. Just go through it. I want the mind-body connection. It's relaxing because it's being mindful practiced. It's thinking about what it's doing. All right? So again, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning. And then rotate yourself back out and stand back up. Okay? So you're almost like you're twisting your legs up and you're going to sit cross-legged at the bottom. That's the mentality you're looking for. Of course, you did good side first, I'm assuming. So now the fun part and where the giggles start to come out, now you got to do the bad side. The less coordinated side, not necessarily the bad side. So again, pivot down and turn. Pivot up and up. So slow, we drop, we keep turning, we sit, we come on up and back up, right? Down and turn, up and up. So you'll notice that we're almost that pop-up that we did at the start. That's what gets you engaged to stand back up, right? We get down and we're tied up. We do our half bridge and then we turn and we stand back up. Make sense? Brain hurts? All right, let's move on. But practice it. It's a nice little flow. All right, next guy that we're going to get into. Pigeon pose. Everyone's favorite. There's a huge ideal position for this one. Very few people can get into it, including myself. Ideally, you want 90 degrees on your front knee. Wherever that is. Everyone starts at 90 degrees, right? So a nice 90 degrees. And then they sit their hips. And then all of a sudden, this heel drops towards their groin, right? If that's where you are, that's where you are, okay? From here, it's chest up. I'm going to angle so you can see. Nice chest up position. You'll almost see a slight passive extension here as I press up with my hands, okay? Again, I'm relaxed. Then from here, I want you to rotate over your front leg. So going that way for me. I'm going to turn back so we can see. So from here, keep your chest up. Don't fall forward and then rotate. Keep your chest up and rotate. You can brace wrist against the knee. And we're just going to hold. From here, if you find that that leg that's bent in front of you, if that butt's not touching the ground, you can now do a little floss. So you can try and drop the hip, come back up. Drop the hip, come back up. Drop the hip, come back up. Notice my torso is not going anywhere though. I'm not rotating back into it. I'm keeping the twist, dropping the hip. You don't have to drop the hip. You can just hold. All right, other side. Slowly unwind yourself first. Then bring that other leg forward. So again, 90 degrees is ideal. As soon as we drop into it, we lose it. That's okay. Chest is up. Rotate to the first side. You'll notice that I can't go as far. That wrist is not touching that knee. That's okay. How do you fare? Same both sides. This side better, this side worse. Take that assessment. From here again, if you want, you can drop the hip. I find this side 100 times tighter. That's actually quite difficult for me, so I'm just going to hold. But that's up to you. Nothing beats this after a long week of some really good kick butt exercises, workouts, right? This is the one piece that we forget about. This is the one piece that we tend to, I guess, negate. So for instance, you have an hour in your head. All of a sudden someone reaches out to you and you're like, I need you in the next 5 minutes. Majority of us don't stop, do our cool down, do some flexibility. We'll finish those bicep curls and then we'll leave and not stretch, right? Don't lie, I know we all do it. You can chuckle, you can giggle, I gotcha. All right, unwind yourself. Beautiful. Next guy we're getting into is what's called the lizard crawl. It's kind of a fashion or a, not modification, but another take on the world's greatest stretch, okay? This one really gets deep into the hips, okay? So you're gonna go into the depth that you can. So we're gonna make that tripod stance. I'm bringing my left foot forward, so you're right if you're facing the screen. Opposite hand is down, so I make a tripod, 1, 2, 3, okay? From here, just like we would in our force test, we then rotate up. I want you to hold that rotation. Notice that it's not just an arm up. I'm having a full rotation of the torso. Then from here, do a push-up. And you all just went, what? Drop your chest and do a push-up. You're only going to go as deep as you can, so if you move half an inch, that's fine. If this position's hard already, just stay there and hold. But I don't want to just see, and it does happen a lot, that this happens. But you'll notice that my hips come with me. Everything's together. All right? Now, a lot of people go, I can't do a one-handed push-up. You'll notice that when you go through, it's not anything to do with only doing a one-handed push-up. That's there just so you don't fall over. Okay? Do 3. Stay in that position. 1, 2, 3. Good. Switch sides. Kick forward, one hand, opposite foot, tripod stance, rotate up. 1, 2, 3. Good. Back to your first side, 3 and 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. Other way. Oh, this one makes you sweat. This is good. 1, 2, 3. Good. Feeling tight in the hips. They're locking in tight. This is great. Stand up, do your reassess. Feet together, knees together. 2 squats, 2-second hold at the bottom. Take a feel. Better? Good. Things start to move a little bit better. We're starting to feel better. We're squeezing some muscle groups. We're getting some stretch within other muscle groups. Things are feeling wonderful right now. Next guy, while you're standing, top of the foot. We always stretch the calves, which is just as important, if not more important. That's one spot that we tend to forget about. We have a hard time with our squats. It's usually an ankle restriction. So you can go back to my ankle video that we did a few weeks back. Gives a little bit of ankle mobility around that. If not, reach out to us. We can definitely help you out with that as well. So, but top of the foot tends to sometimes feel it. We have a muscle, or a bone that's in there that's called the talus. Sometimes it doesn't glide. It needs to be able to glide backwards to be able to bend the foot up and down, okay? So when we get into that squat, if our knees can't go over toes, sometimes that bone is just stuck. Sometimes it's because of the tightness on top. So, standing, cross one foot over the other, kind of how we do this guy, right? When we just stand and chat with someone. But I want you to curl your toes under, okay? And then from here, you can just kind of push that foot down. You'll feel the stretch right on the front. Now, if you need to hold on to something, go for it. So if you find balance is tough, grab whatever you got, hold yourself, and just curl those toes under. You'll feel that nice stretch kind of on the top of the foot, right more at the ankle, but some feel it all the way down into the big toe. And some will even feel it up slightly into the shin here, so anterior tibialis anterior. A spot we always forget about. We always do one side but not the other side. I don't have our standard calf stretch into this one, but I do want you to do it after this video is over. Make sure you balance front to back for me. All right, other side. Same thing. And then compare. This side for me feels a whole lot more loose. It's moving. It feels good. The other side felt more restricted. I felt more of a stretch on it in the exact same range of motion, which just means that side is tighter. All right, shake that out. Last two, here we go. We're gonna do the first one standing, last one on the floor. You need the side of the couch, you need the wall, you need a dresser, you need a door, something like that where you can put your heels against it and then your butt against it as well. So, heels against the wall, butt against the wall. You can use this one for a great party trick. It can be done. Very few people can do it. But if you can, it's a bonus. It shows control within the body, keeping your butt against the wall, keeping your knees straight, and keeping your heels against the wall. Touch toes. Go ahead. I hear a lot of chuckling right now. It's tough, isn't it? We can't reach them, right? We feel those guy wires trying to hold us up. You're laughing at me right now because I'm standing here saying do it, and you're all looking at me going, you do it. I know I can't. But it is kind of the party tricks things. So, you can always go to, go out, hang out with your friends once we can get back out of this social distancing kind of era right now. Tell them to go up against the wall and fall forward. If they can't, they owe you lunch, right? Love it. What I want you to do is I want you to fall forward where you can touch the floor. I don't care where. So for me, it's out here. Now I want you to walk yourself back to wherever you feel the hamstring stretch. If you can get your butt back to the wall, great. If you can't though, that's okay. But walk yourself back to wherever you can, keeping your toes and your heels on the ground. Five seconds. 3, 2, 1. Good. You probably felt that was a way deeper stretch than seated on the floor and hinging forward. It's because we're giving a limitation to where the body can move by sitting up against the wall. Last guy really quick. Lying on the ground, I want your feet together, bottom of the feet together. And then I just want you to passively let the legs hang. So let the knees go, and you're going to feel adductors. At some point, you're probably going to get your adductors are going to start to kind of flutter and shake. That's okay. It's your body trying to relax and turn itself off. That's exactly what's happening. You're having a fight between the muscle and the mind. So when the mind can relax, the muscle will then relax further. So if you get a flutter, don't worry about it. Okay? Beautiful. Coming on up. One last quick assessment. Stand up, knees together, feet together. 2 quick squats. Quickly, quickly. How's it feeling? Feeling better? I hope it is. I hope you're feeling a whole ton better. That's our hour. That flew by. I didn't expect that to go as fast as it did. Thank you all so much for joining us. Do again, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the Garrison Fitness Sports. Check out our PSP Edmonton YouTube page. Check out the Instagram feed as well that we have. Tons of stuff going on. Questions, comments. We're around for the next 15 minutes to answer those for you. If you're looking for any further information, anything fitness related, we're still here for you. So please reach out on the Instagram, on any of those social media pieces. Reach out, ask those questions, what you're looking for. We're still here for you, programming, exercise-wise, anything fitness related. All right? Again, my name is Scott Paradis. Thanks for joining me this afternoon, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care.